So we have a major problem with our tiny house. I discovered yesterday. So there probably isn't a lot of people still around that watch my videos, that were watching my videos when I built the tiny house. And as you know, I'm not an expert at building anything. We had certain plans with the attic, what we were calling a loft at the time. We were trying to be very careful on how we called it, but we wanted to call it a loft because we thought we wanted the storage space. So we designed it in a fashion for storage. And we were going to put windows up there, as a matter of fact. We got windows on the camper that I installed. Remember, I built the camper. And there's windows on it that I forget, I guess we bought them at Home Depot, and they're real small. Worked perfect for the camper. Well, they would have worked perfect for upstairs too. The attic is about 3 foot tall. So it has a floor with 3/4 inch plywood. We could have created walls starting right here and run all the way across. There's no walls in it just yet. So we have an entrance here. And then originally we actually have a hole cut out where we were going to do a entrance, I think there or there, I can't remember exactly. So we had 2 entrances. Well, we decided, no, we only wanted 1 entrance. In between this metal here and the floor, the 3/4 inch plywood, we have insulation. We have a gable. A gable is the peak. So the plan was to put more insulation. So not only on the floor here, or the ceiling, or whatever you want to call that, we were going to put insulation on the gable also. But once we got into the house, we thought, you know, the attic is just not that important. I mean, Carolyn's had different ideas with it, and it would cost a lot of money, more work, but we just don't need the storage like we thought we did. We've put a few items up there. For example, I have a water heater up there. We got 1 water heater, and then we have a backup water heater and backup. Oh, we got the buddy heater. I can't remember everything we got there. Oh, the extra glass, a little backup piece of glass for the wood stove. So things that we don't need very often. I may go up there once or twice a year. This is going to be, I guess, our 3rd year here. This is our 3rd winter. Yep. This is like our little hatch here. So you'll see there's something I can slide over. Then we got these 2 hinges, and it just drops down. And you can see that I've actually accidentally dented it. So that drops down, and then I can put a ladder here and I climb right up. So it's basically an attic now. Well, one of the things when you use metal for your roof, metal roof, you have to put a layer of Tyvek sheeting. What it is, it's a moisture barrier. And it's actually waterproof. So you may be driving around and see a house under construction and they got that Tyvek sheet. It says Tyvek right on the side of it. Now it's really expensive. You can buy off-brands, and that's what we did, bought off-brand. So the whole house is surrounded with this Tyvek. So you put the Tyvek down on top of your plywood, and then you put your metal roofing material on it. Because in between the plywood and the metal roof, you get condensation. It's just one of the design flaws of metal material, using it as a roofing material or anything. Now, like down in Florida, when you start to build your house, the permit guy, Dad had the same problem, will tell you that they would like for you to use the metal roofing material. Well, Dad put the metal roofing on. He was going to put shingles, but when the permit guy said, hey, you know, you're not doing a metal roof, he thought, you know what, I don't want to even cause any trouble, so he put the metal roof on. I helped him put that roof on. So I had quite a bit of experience helping him put that on. So when we decided to build this, we thought, man, that just went up so easily that I'd do the same thing. When you go outside in the wintertime, during the day, you'll see water dripping in between. It's hard to explain, but instead of it dripping off the edge, it drips right here. So what that means is water's coming down, coming in between, I guess that's called the soffit. So it comes down underneath the metal material and drips right there. Designed to do that. For some reason, it's designed to do that. Metal roofing, you get condensation up there. That's why you have the Tyvek sheets. Now, the thing is we never installed the windows because we thought, no, we're just going to make it an attic. Now we have the fascia board Here also, and a lot of fascia boards, you'll have ventilation coming through here. But again, I didn't want to do that because we were going to use the upstairs. So if this had ventilation and we were upstairs in the wintertime, cold air would have just came right into the house. So we didn't do anything with that. Now, the error in which I caused was I never completed the project. The thing is the first winter went by, had no issues. Last winter went by, had no issues. Well, I went up there the other day and it looked wet on the gable part. So the plywood in the attic looked damp. And I thought, oh my goodness, we got a leak somewhere. So I got up there crawling around and it's everywhere. It's just wet everywhere. Now on this side of the house, it's not near as wet as it is on the north side. So that's the north side. The stove is on the south side. And my guess is because this is the attic box. This prevents anything touching the chimney in the attic. There is a portion of this box sticking up on the other side of the ceiling here. There's no insulation in here. So this, you can touch it and it's very cold sometimes in comparison to the ceiling when the wood stove is not on. So my guess is heat is going up there and kind of drying this area. But on this side, it's very wet. Now, fortunately, I caught it in time before we got any mold. What you're supposed to do is on the north and south side, which is where oh, the cat wants to come in. There's no way I could have gotten the camera down fast enough to show you the cat. I know people want to see the cat, but she runs in too fast. So you're supposed to put like a louver type of vent at the gable. But like I said, since we were going to use it as a loft, we did not do that. We were going to put a window there. I don't want to get into a big construction project, tear into the house in the middle of winter and have to deal with all this. You know, it could snow and I'd be up there trying to fight it. So I'm trying to find a simple solution to this. So I called Dad today, and of course, you know, he's using words that I'm not familiar with. Now, Dad's pretty good at building things. He's built 2 houses in his life. So I've used Dad as kind of a, hey, what do I do thing? And he gives me suggestions. Well, the first thing I said what I wanted to do was on the fascia board that I just showed you. I think it's called fascia. If it's not called fascia, I stand corrected. But this board here, I thought I'd drill a bunch of 1-inch holes, because you can buy plastic, vinyl siding, whatever you want to call it, that has holes, just hundreds of holes. It goes all the way across that screen on it. So I said, I'm just going to drill holes in there and then buy a piece of screen and run it down the length. That way bugs can't get in it. And that'll keep it ventilated. And Dad agreed. Yeah, that's what you should do. And he even sent me a picture of his house, and that's exactly what he has. He bought the vinyl siding stuff with all the holes in it. But then he says, you need something on the gables. So he sent me a picture of his house, and it had the square vent. Well, I just don't want to cut into it. First of all, I don't have the equipment to do it anymore. My saw is burned up. I don't want to go buy another saw. So I was just like, boy, I don't want to cut in the house in the middle of winter, but I got to do something. This morning, when I started the wood stove, I opened that hatch, just try to get some ventilation, some heat up in there to dry that out. And it is working. To prevent the mold, I want to get something done. Well, the other thing you can do is you can buy round louvers that are 4 inches in diameter. And I couldn't understand what he was telling me. I don't know why I couldn't figure it out. But I already have one. Got one right here. This is the vent that goes into my wood stove. So my wood stove has to take outside air. There's a pipe in here, a little flexible pipe, and that just sucks air into the wood stove. So I already have one. I didn't know what he was telling me. Well, I did the math. We calculated it out based on the size of his. I calculated and I figured out that we needed 3 to match the size of his. Now his attic is bigger than my attic. Definitely have enough ventilation. So I'm going to put 3 of these on each side of the gable, on this side and on the north side. So that takes care of the cross. And then you'll get that vacuum suction in the summertime with these holes in the louver. Well, the other thing is Carolyn said, well, we don't want to drill a bunch of holes. So what we're going to do and you can do this because we looked it up. We're going to drill 4-inch holes, like 8 of them on each side. It's a 16 feet across this house is. So we'll drill 4-inch holes. So now, is I already have the hole saw. All I got to do is hook this up to the drill, and this just cuts right through the metal and everything. That's how I made this hole. So now we seem to have some sort of plan in place to make this work. But although I was up there, I didn't see any mold yet, luckily. I thought we better do something to prevent the mold. So they sell on Amazon a spray. You can actually buy this spray also in like a bug bomb. You know, you press the can and you can buy those, but I wasn't sure based on the instructions on Amazon that that's what I wanted. So we bought a garden sprayer, a little tiny pump up. We bought a gallon of mold cleaner. Now this mold cleaner not only cleans, but it prevents further growth. So we're going to paint basically the attic gable and the floor and everything that, you know, is exposed with this stuff, and that should prevent any mold from growing. So fortunately we caught it in time, so we're not in serious trouble just yet. Now I know there are going to be people who said you should have, could have, would have done it, and those kind of comments just drive me crazy, because my goal of this channel is to teach folks that they can do things even when there's mistakes involved. You're going to make mistakes. First time I ever built a house, no idea what I was doing, and we changed our plans after we got settled in. So it's not like what I was doing was wrong, it's just we changed our mind, and I just never followed up with it. I do know that when I was building this house, there was tons of people in the comment section saying you're gonna have to put vents in it, but I didn't want to put vents in it because that would have just caused cold air to come into the living space, because the attic, the loft is what we were calling it, was going to be our living space. So I didn't want to just put a big hole in the side of the wall. I still don't want to put a big hole in the side of the wall. I would much rather put little holes in the wall. That way if something changes in the future, it wouldn't be that hard to cover this up. At first I couldn't imagine how this was going to look good, and I couldn't find any with the correct color. But what I decided is we're going to put one right 4 inches below the peak of the house there. So right there in the center, and then we're going to count over 4 grooves, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there'll be another one 4 inches down from underneath the gable, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. There'll be another one over there. If you'll click this up next box, take the video that I made yesterday. So if I can inspire you to make mistakes so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.